Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to get straight to the point because after the 1.1.0 update for Mongil Stardive that was released on May 27th, the community has had quite a mixed reaction. And honestly, I completely understand why. In this video, I'll go through everything that's happening in the game right now, from dev note number 5 to the upcoming events, analyzing what's good, what still needs improvement, and most importantly, what you should do right now so you don't miss any valuable rewards. First, let's talk about Reginula, the conquest content that I think has become one of the most controversial topics at the moment. Basically, Reginula is where you farm legendary monsterlings, and the dev team intentionally designed it to be quite difficult because they want it to serve as milestone content, meaning you need to invest enough into your characters before you can fully take advantage of its rewards. From a game design perspective, this approach is not necessarily wrong, because if endgame content is too accessible, the feeling of progression starts to lose its meaning. However, the real issue lies elsewhere. Legendary Monsterlings are not just prestige collectibles. They are being positioned as one of the game's major progression systems moving forward. That means if you are locked out of Reginula for too long, the gap between players who can access it and those who cannot will continue to widen exponentially. Um, this is something I believe the devs have recognized and are now trying to address. They are currently considering changes to the way coin rewards are distributed within Reginula, so that even if your team is not fully maxed out yet, you can still accumulate enough tokens to purchase important items. This change is scheduled to go live next week. The nice part is that they are already sending 3,000 Legendary Conquest Tokens directly to your mailbox, so you can use them before the shop resets. The claim deadline is May 31st at 4:59 UTC, which means there is not much time left. If you're watching this video right now, open the game and claim them first. I'll wait. As for my personal opinion, I think this adjustment is moving in the right direction, but I still want to see the exact details of how the coin distribution will change before making a final judgment. The devs promised a full breakdown sometime this week, so let's keep an eye on it together. Next is the situation involving Benjamin and the unannounced Nerf, which I believe was handled poorly by the developers, and they have admitted that themselves. Technically, the issue was that Benjamin's stats were being calculated beyond the intended in-game cap, meaning the character was mathematically stronger than originally designed. The devs corrected the calculations to bring him back to the intended values. In principle, that makes sense because a bug that makes a character stronger than intended is still a bug, and it is their responsibility to fix it. The problem is that they implemented the change without providing any prior notice, and that is a serious communication failure. Imagine being a player who invested resources into Benjamin based on his current performance, only to wake up one day and find your character noticeably weaker without any explanation. That feels terrible. PD Lee Dongjo personally apologized and promised that he will directly review all patch details from start to finish before every future update. I appreciate that, and honestly, it is not something every studio is willing to do. Now, the important part is whether they can consistently follow through on that promise in future patches. Now let's move on to what I consider the most serious technical mistake in this update: the reduction of race content rewards. Here's what happened. During a live stream, the developers promised that race rewards this season would be easier to obtain than before. However, when the update went live, Premium Salmon Puree was only dropping in quantities of 1 instead of the intended 3, resulting in every player missing a total of 10 units throughout the season. The cause was that test data was actually pushed into the live build during the reward configuration process. This is a basic QA mistake, and it hurts even more because it directly contradicts the developer's own promise. They promised something better, but players ended up receiving something worse. Premium Salmon Puree is the resource used to lock Monsterling traits during combining, allowing you to preserve good stats and avoid losing them during the fusion process. This is not just another ordinary item. It directly impacts the efficiency of your entire Monsterling building process. To compensate, the developers are sending 30 premium salmon purees to every player's mailbox, including the missing 10 units, plus an additional 20 as an apology bonus. The claim deadline is also May 31st at 14:59 UTC, just like the Conquest tokens. From my perspective, the extra 20 purees are a nice gesture, but what I want to see more than compensation is a genuine improvement to their QA process, not just promises. If a similar mistake happens again in the future, the community's trust will be damaged far more seriously. Now let's move on to a slightly more interesting topic, Brawl DMG values. At first, this looked like a simple tooltip bug, but it actually sparked a much more interesting discussion about game balance. The issue is that the current tooltip displays Brawl DMG as 1.5% against enemies and 3.00% for teammates on all characters. However, these are actually the default rates intended exclusively for brawler characters, and the values are being displayed incorrectly on other characters. Instead of simply fixing the tooltip, the developers decided to adjust the entire balance system in version 1.2.0 to better align with player expectations. As a result, brawler characters will receive Brawl DMG boost values of 3.0% against enemies and 6% for teammates, while all other characters will have 1.50% against enemies and 3.0% for teammates. In my opinion, this is a smart decision. Instead of just fixing a text bug and suddenly making players realize they had misunderstood the numbers from the beginning, the developers chose to lean into player expectations and adjust the game accordingly. It shows that they are listening to feedback and willing to be flexible with their design philosophy. At the same time, it also means the balance system will likely continue to be fine-tuned, so it is worth keeping up with patch notes to avoid being caught off guard. The developers are also investigating two additional technical issues: unexpected game shutdowns and map clipping in the Toxic Mire area where players can fall through the terrain. There is no official patch for either issue yet, but fixes will be deployed as soon as they are validated. Personally, I think these should be treated as high priority problems because they directly impact the core gameplay experience. Now let's talk about the part that will probably attract the most attention: the two new events starting on June 1st. The first event is the Monsterling support mission, which runs from June 1st to June 16. The rules are very straightforward. You earn adventurer quest contribution through daily quests, with a maximum of 100 points per day. To complete all missions, you need to accumulate a total of 1,000 points. Doing the math, that means you need exactly 10 days to fully complete the event, while the event itself lasts 16 days. In other words, there is a very comfortable buffer. As for rewards, you will receive 51-star Monsterlings from each of 10 different types: Slimelet, Rockymander, Helfid, Bopkaby, Ronin Turtley, White Wolf Warrior, Enforcer, Gargoyle, Bunny, and Hop Ailey. That is 50 copies of each type. The final milestone reward for completing everything is 1 gold upgrade stone. And when it comes to the gold upgrade stone, this is an extremely valuable item. It allows you to upgrade a Monsterling from purple to gold while preserving its level and stats. In other words, you can increase the rarity of a strong Monsterling without gambling through the random combine process. This is the safest way to promote a Monsterling with perfect traits into the gold tier without relying on luck. The second event is the Monsterling Combine mission, which runs during the same period from June 1st to June 16. For this event, you need to combine Monsterlings a total of 250 times. The event is divided into 10 milestones, with each milestone requiring 25 combines. Every milestone rewards 10 Premium Salmon Purees and 250,000 gold. If you complete all 10 milestones, you will receive an additional bonus of 50 Premium Salmon Purees. In total, fully clearing the event rewards 150 Premium Salmon Purees and 2,500,000 gold. That is a significant amount of resources, especially for players actively building and optimizing their Monsterling lineup. However, I want to point out one important detail. Completing 250 combines requires a large number of Monsterlings to use as fusion material. And this is exactly why Event 1 and Event 2 were designed to work together. You use the 500 Monsterlings earned from Event 1 to fuel your Combine sessions in Event 2. And that is before even considering the additional Monsterlings created through those combines, which can then be combined again and again and again. It is a very clean piece of game design, and I appreciate how well the mechanics of both events complement each other. Because of that synergy, Event 2 should be very easy to complete. To summarize, here's what you should do right now. First, log in and claim the 3,000 Legendary Conquest Tokens from your mailbox before May 31st at 14:59 UTC. Second, claim the 30 Premium Salmon Purees before the same deadline. Third, prepare for the two events starting on June 1st by making sure you do not miss your daily quests. If you are a new player, focus on farming Monsterlings, increasing your power, and progressing through the story as quickly as possible. Fourth, wait for the detailed Reginula reward adjustment breakdown that will be released later this week before deciding how to spend your conquest tokens. Looking at the bigger picture, I think the MONGIL Stardive developers are moving in the right direction when it comes to communication and their willingness to course correct. However, they clearly need to make serious improvements to their QA process and internal review procedures before pushing updates to the live servers. An update containing this many issues at the same time, from the stat cap bug to incorrect reward data being pushed live to tooltip glitches, suggests that the final verification process before release is not strict enough. That said, their quick response, the live fixes deployed on May 29th, and the personal commitment made by the PD are all positive signs. The community is now waiting to see whether they can actually follow through on those promises in future updates. If you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you do not miss future analyses when next week's patch arrives. I will cover the Reginula changes in detail as soon as more information becomes available. See you all in the next video.